houses and buildings might tell a lot about lifestyle of a city, and art and culture tell a lot about how the life really is. But when we mix both of these, magic happens. Hello, folks. We are back again with a new episode of Bhoot Bharat and Bhavishya. Today, we are sitting in Bangalore, and with me, I have Aanchal Gupta, who is a mural artist. She's doing this particular form of art for past 10 years and has done over 100 plus murals in the span of 10 years. So, hi, Aanchal. Welcome to the
Hi,
show.
Harshit.
Yeah. So, let's start with the quick intro of how you got into it and how this whole thing actually started.
Okay, so since childhood, I've always been into art. By childhood, I mean like before school, and my mom used to take me to a lot of art competitions and whatever Durga Puja is happening. So I
Yeah.
was always into some form of art. Of course, like at that time, it was just an extracurricular activity. In 2010, because I've been doing it for a long time, there was an institute in Greater Noida, an MBA institute, who just came up with the idea of painting a wall. It was a music studio,
Yeah.
and they wanted something on the outside, and a canvas cannot be put outside because of the weather
Right.
conditions. So they were like, why not, do something related to art on outsides of it, which is, more representative of music and all of that. So it was a very new idea because it was 12 to 13 years back.
Right.
And I was like, okay, let's do it. So that was when it all started, and that was my first mural project.
Got it.
And I painted continuously for around 35 hours. And at the beginning, it was like, oh, it's so much fun. By the end of it, I was
Right.
very exhausted, and everything was there. But the results were so amazing that it just gave me a kick to do it even more
Right.
frequently. So that what I would say was the beginning point.
Okay.
And then I went to Kirodimal College. We
Yeah.
had like a fine arts and photography society. So we did a lot of installations, exhibitions for 3 years. So, and after that also, it just started from there as well.
Got it.
So that was more from a community perspective because there were like 10 people. And
Okay.
yeah, that was the
So,
beginning.
from what I understand about mural, and I expect that audience might also relate with it, it needs uh, a lot of space in terms of the physical canvas. So, whenever you are going for a bigger kind of artwork, it's always risky to start with it in
Yeah,
general.
right.
So, how, and as you just mentioned, that it took you continuously 35 hours to do it for once, and that was
Yeah.
your first one. So, there was any initial inspiration behind moving towards doing it for 35 hours or doing it on a such large scale? Like, were you doing it before on a smaller scale or maybe on a smaller canvas, or it only started with, let's say, a mural?
No, of course, it not did not started with a mural.
Right.
And I think the idea behind doing it for 35 hours was that even with a canvas, when you start painting a canvas,
Right.
for us, we want to see the what is the final result of it.
Right.
I think same thing happened with the wall, that you want to see how it looks once it's finished. So whether it's like a 5 hour thing or a 35-hour thing, you
Right.
tend to do it because you want to finish it. You want to
Right.
see how your efforts are turning into this beautiful piece of art. So that was the motivation behind it. And as I told you, I had no idea, like something can be painted on the wall. It
Hmm.
was somebody from outside who told me that why not, do this. And I was like, okay, let's try it. So it was more like a challenge and something new that I,
Got it.
tried it. And I just loved it because of the scale of it also.
Right.
Like it's a huge canvas basically if
A
you
lot
see
of
that.
people
Yeah.
actually see it from a lot more distance, and it is
Yeah,
automatically broadcasted to
yeah,
a larger audience.
yes.
That's a
And it's
beautiful
always
aspect.
there. It's
Yeah,
always
it's
there.
always there.
You
That's
can
right.
feel it,
Yeah,
and irrespective of rains or everything,
right.
it'll always be there.
And whenever you are traveling a nearby place, you can always tell people, hey, see, I did
Yeah,
this, right?
yeah, right.
So I will just take one step backward from
Yeah,
it. So, because obviously, when I talk about art or when we talk about art in general, so it's always seen that it's like progressional in generations. So, is there anyone in your family, maybe someone
okay.
distant relative, who has ever done something like this or maybe pursued something like this?
So I would say not exactly an artist or like doing it
Yeah.
professionally, But my mom,
Oh,
she used to teach younger kids, nursery, primary school kids. And when she used to teach, you used to use a lot of visual representation, like drawing those pigeons and all of that. And
yeah.
she was quite good at it.
Okay,
And that was her method of teaching,
got it.
through art. So she did it for a couple of years, then she stopped, and all of the marriage and everything,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's just went away. So I just know her in my family. Otherwise,
Okay,
everybody is working either into some jobs or some business.
got it.
So no other background there.
So, like, was it a challenging step for you to move towards it, or it was more like, okay, firstly, let me try and then we'll see?
So it was never challenging. Actually, it was always a hobby.
Okay,
So I never thought it that it's a professional thing and I have to do it so
got it.
well. And it was always ठीक है, कर लिया competition है,
Got
कर
it.
लिया जीत लिया ठीक है.
Hmm.
You do it for your own interest, and after studies you do it. So it was, I never felt that progression or felt that translation from something that I was already doing into something that was very new. It was never new to me.
Got it.
So slowly as things started evolving, I also
Yeah.
changed the way I used to paint and the way I used to think. So it just happened very naturally.
If we talk about, because we want to understand more about specifically about mural art, so what is the whole scenario or the whole scene in our country is? Like,
Yeah.
you must be interacting with other artists also who are
Yes,
doing it.
yes, yeah.
What do you think? Is there any improvement in how people perceive art, or how people perceive mural in general in India? How is it outside? How is it different here? Can you tell a
Yeah.
little about that?
So there are a lot of few topics that you've touched here.
Yeah.
So I'll start with the fact that how popular a mural is.
Yeah.
That I think happened after COVID,
Okay.
when social media was just booming.
Yeah.
So that is when a lot of other people who are not artists or who are not into that field
Right.
came to know about it more. Before that, obviously, a lot of people knew we were already doing it, but it wasn't that popular that everybody wanted to get it. So, in order to have a market for art, a lot of people should do it.
Hmm.
That's how it becomes a
Right.
market. So that transition happened after COVID, and so for me to describe a mural, I'll just tell you how it
Yeah.
works, right? Like what a
Yeah,
mural
take
is.
us through the process so it will be
Yeah.
easier to understand.
So, for example, if you have a place and you have this beauty, say this wall is there, and you
Yeah.
want to do something on this wall.
Yeah.
So you'll come up to me and tell me, see, Aanchal, I'm looking for something which goes well with my room as well, because I've done it very aesthetically. So now you tell me
Right.
that whether I should do, first of all, first question is whether I should do something on it or I should just let it be. Then I suggest, no, you should do something on it, like maybe something light which goes with your vibe. Then you also tell me that I don't know what anything about art.
Yeah.
But then I'll talk to you, then understand you how you think about art.
Got it.
Even though you think that you don't know anything about it, you always know something about art.
Yeah.
So you'll know, you will only guide me through the entire procedure. This is what I look online, or this is what I go through and I've read.
Yeah.
I have this sort of an interest. Basis what you told me, then I'll also share few of my inputs, and then we'll have a discussion about it. This is what it's like and everything. You'll share the dimensions with me.
Yeah.
And I'll share you, okay, this is how it is, this is the pricing, and this is how it looks. So I hand draw it on either on like some software, and I show it to you so that you can also visualize.
Got it.
Because from your side you will be very little scared, that your wall is
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it's your wall and you want it to look good.
Yeah, it can't be
Yeah.
removed readily.
Yeah,
It's there.
exactly. So I'll guide you through the procedure, you will guide me through the other things, and then we come to a point where we are at the same page.
Yeah.
And then we go ahead with the mural. So again, for me it starts with getting the perspective of the wall, and taking the dimensions right, and then starting with the entire procedure, like sketching it, then painting it, and yeah. So
Got
that's
it.
that's
So
what-
in this whole process, I will take the other question that I asked later on. But as you described the process, I have many questions here. So firstly, from where did you get your inspirations mostly? If it is
Yeah.
not internally or maybe from your past experience, what is a
Okay.
fresh source for getting an inspiration?
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
For example, there was this project in Chhatarpur Farms.
Okay.
So now that area, once I entered, it was huge, and the wall was also like huge, 300 square feet, very tall. But I just had like I just spent times in there during the site visit, and I saw there's a lot of greenery around it, and
Hmm.
uh, the people who are looking forward to get the mural done are also very interested in very subtle nature. Like they have a very subtle nature. They want soothing things and
Got it.
all of that, and they have a lot of plants. So that's when we decided to go for something which is tropical, which is
Got it.
like a lot of people are getting it done
Yeah.
solely for the nature because they want nature at home.
Right.
So that itself, from the surrounding itself, that entire thing was up on the wall with, of course, few elements of birds which are not found here but will
Hmm.
look beautiful, a lot of color elements. So depending on what the place is and what the city is, what kind of people are, that's how we come to a conclusion about the art that's going to be there.
Got
Yeah.
it. So the process is, I think, pretty much natural
Yes.
rather than including a lot of inputs from a lot of places. You just sit there, decide,
Yeah.
and just visualize what will look good there.
Yes. Yes.
So, in the same progress of thought, so once you have visualized, okay, this will go good. So, as you are practicing on a larger space, I already mentioned, there's a greater chance of maybe doing something which you didn't plan,
Hmm.
but now as you have done it on the wall,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
have to go through maybe a B route or something like that.
Yeah.
So these kind of things ever happen with you?
So with respect to challenges,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, there are always. In fact, in initial few murals that used to happen, um, not this, like the rerouting part has not happened that much because while we are doing it, it's not a 1 day thing. So it takes four
Right.
days. So we generally involve the person who is, viewing the art or who is the client, and we ask them,
Yeah.
this is what we decided, but I think this would look better.
Yeah.
So do you think we should go forward with it rather than just assuming and doing it? So there have been few challenges, especially when you're starting something new and at that big level, something has to go wrong, and
Right.
eventually only that this shouldn't have happened, or this is how. So we also try to correct for it. For example, sometimes the paints that we are using, it will be very strange thing to hear, but this is what I have observed, that same brands, like the similar brands, have different transparency in their paints. So sometimes
Got
what
it.
happens is we think that, of course, the white is working well, the red will also work well. It doesn't work well. It becomes patchy and
Ah,
all of that
got it.
things happen. So you tend to correct for it. You have to
Hmm.
correct because you have to come up with a solution now that you've taken up something.
Right.
You also want the other person to be happy about it, and then you correct for it. You look for a solution how to go for it. So that
Right.
is what happens sometimes with respect to again, I think I was talking about that the initial design that we thought and what the final result is different, because in between we realize, okay, that was something digital which we had shown to the client that this is how it's going to look.
Right.
But when we start doing it, the process changes, and we realize, no, something might look better. So we discuss it with the other person before proceeding with it,
Yeah.
because everybody has different thought processes, and then we implement that on the wall, and then it's good.
Got
And
it.
lastly, there's the techniques that we use. Sometimes
Yeah.
we're using airbrush, sometimes we're using some texture, and in that, less control is in our hands as compared to the machine. So there has to be a
Got it.
coordination between the two. So that also comes with time. I think it is all about practice and doing both, taking that first step, doing that
Yeah.
and going wrong, and then
Yeah.
going
Because
for
see,
it. Yeah.
what I think
Yeah.
from perspective of any artist, it is very difficult to avoid iterations.
Hmm.
Even if
Yeah,
you are
correct.
going with a set of mind that
Yeah.
okay, I have to paint this particular thing in
Yeah.
this particular way, still there are cases, there are chances that you might need to
Yeah.
reiterate it few
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work which is happening
Yes.
in terms of beautification of those
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
And the modern workspaces are
Hmm.
also including art as a
Yeah.
mandatory thing
Yeah.
in their whole environment
Yeah.
for maybe for good impact on the team's
Yes.
mental health or
Yeah.
something. So regarding including this touch point also, can you please elaborate a bit how it is different here, how it is different outside?
Yeah.
And obviously there is a significant growth
Yeah.
as we talk about mural.
Yes.
So what actually kicked it? Like what actually happened that mural
Yeah.
became famous?
Yeah. So I think outside India versus here, the thing is that what I feel is that it was already there. Like art as a
Right.
profession was already so popularized outside India, so respectable, and that it wasn't here as much as it's outside. So when even like what you mentioned, like going on the roads, looking at the metros and everything, if you go outside, they are already there. That beautification process is already there, and
Right.
it's still ongoing because
Right.
obviously it can never stop. But most of the areas, those public places, are already there.
Right.
And in India, again, being a like, I would not say a developing nation, but like India is a developing
Yeah.
nation, and still like a lot of things are
Right.
going on. Art is also progressing. So now that a lot of communities, art communities have come up,
Hmm.
which there are like 100 artists in each community, and they are spread all across India. And they are taking those big initiatives like doing the infrastructure and everything. And now, since they are taking so much effort at the ground level,
Right.
and the government is also involved with the help of social media also, that this is a thing now.
Right.
So they also help to fund those communities so that they can take up those large infrastructure projects.
Yeah.
So that is why we are seeing those large metro projects which are happening, and
Right.
even the underpasses, if you go through them, yeah, they have beautiful art there. So again, it is like slowly it's evolving. And as I mentioned before, the COVID period has also kicked in a lot of it. And most importantly, I would like to highlight the importance of communities. Since a lot of people have started doing it, it's like a chain effect that it will grow.
Right.
Yeah, it will not
So,
come back.
yeah, you're absolutely right. In any kind of cultural influence getting progress, there's the largest contribution is from the people or the
Yeah.
community who are
Yeah.
actually practicing it.
Yeah.
So, coming to this point only,
Yeah.
you also find a belonging with the community,
Yes,
obviously.
yes.
So, can you mention a few instances where
Yeah.
you have worked with a
Yeah.
community, within a
Yeah.
community for a project, maybe?
Yes. So my initial few days where I was doing this, there is a community, Wicked Bros, which is
Okay.
there, and it's based out of Delhi, Dehradun, Bangalore. Even though they do it across India, but there are like 160 artists in there.
Oh, great.
And every year they organize Lady Street Art Festival, that's in again different states. So I was part of one of, I think in 2020, it was outside a police station in Gurgaon. They had taken up a few walls, say 10, 12 walls. They invited all the female artists, and we around 20 people. We did each wall together for again in this Delhi heat. So showing the dedication towards
Right.
art, and we did it for 2, 3 days. So that is where it was a great experience, because when you're painting alone, you can feel those 3 days, even though you love art. But when you're doing with a lot of people around you,
Yeah.
it's like a group activity, and
Right.
and you know that so many people are like you and doing that for the same purpose as you are.
It's more cherishing.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes. And it wasn't anything that we'll get paid for it or something
Yeah.
like that. It was just like a, standing up for all the women who are into this
Right.
street art.
For a cause.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one community. Otherwise, also for every project, depending on the scale, there are like group of we 2, 3 artists who come together from that community. We just tell each other, we are looking for somebody who can join us for
Got
this
it.
project. So people turn up very happily, and then we do the project together. So it's always a joint effort whenever it's.
Back at your home, have you ever painted anything like inside your home?
That's that is funny, because I think my parents, and even I am like very, not I am actually, my parents are very scared of me doing something on the wall.
Okay.
I do it on walls. This I can do it, but because it's your own wall, then you like, okay, what if parents don't like it? So
Right.
I generally create canvases at home,
Okay.
because apart from murals, I also do a lot of
Yeah.
canvases. So that's where when I'm home, I do spend time on those canvases.
Got it. So
Yeah.
you have canvas, but not
Not
a
on the
wall.
wall, not at
Okay.
the moment.
Maybe in
yeah.
future.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So coming back to it, uh, if we talk about, as you are already into it for many years,
Yeah.
and you have done a lot of work,
Yeah.
obviously there is a lot to do in future as well.
Yes, yes.
But if let's say someone is starting right now,
Okay.
or someone is starting, someone is a beginner,
Yeah.
so how they can start with it,
Yeah.
or how actually people get projects, maybe. But see, it's a good thing that it is for the field of art,
Yeah.
and many a times it is for a cause as well, as you mentioned, for the
Yes.
community. But for many people, it might be the bread and butter.
Yeah. For me,
So
it is also like bread and butter. That will always be a part of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so if we talk about purely from starting it as a
Hmm.
occupation,
Right.
being correct at your
Yeah.
artistic stance as well,
Yeah.
so how someone can actually start with?
Yeah. So, like today, if I start about today, if somebody wants to start today, I think it's a very good time to start. Any time is good to start, but right now, because as compared to the past, right now we have access to so many things like tutorials, what materials to use, where to go, how to get it. Social media is there, and
Right,
everything is there. So, I think anybody who has little interest in art can just kickstart off with this. Of course, like now earning like money, literally money out of it and making it your full-time profession, what you need to do is you just need to start small, like with any other thing. Skill upgradation is very, very important. So practicing, being consistent, and talking to a lot of people, helping
right,
other people, doing a lot of volunteering work. So all of these things will add to your skills as well as
right.
to your portfolio,
Got
so
it.
that you also become more confident when you go to somebody's place to paint a canvas or a wall, something like that. So yes, so I think starting small, like, and if I want to go into the detail of it, I would just say start with sketching, because that's the best way you can get a hold of the your surroundings and
Right,
your techniques, and just like drawing something on paper. So this is how you can start.
got
And of course, once you're good at it, because again there's a lot of competition, the
it.
opportunities
Right,
will come in. The harder you push yourself, the harder you talk to people, you go out, you see places, more opportunities will come in. You try, yeah, you
definitely.
try 10 doors,
Right,
one door will open. So that's how
got
it
it.
is. Yeah.
So adding to this particular part, what I have seen that you guys also organize few workshops.
Yes, yes.
So can you
Yeah,
let us know about how these
yeah,
things happen and what kind of crowd you expect and what
yeah,
kind of crowd actually comes to these kind of workshops?
yeah.
How if there's if it is a closed environment, how close it is,
Hmm.
or if it is open for everyone, then what kind of experiments people can expect coming there?
Yeah. So, so how I have divided the workshops is into like two parts. One is the corporate side of it, because there are like a lot of people involved, and
Yeah,
corporates, they want to organize workshops for the people so that they can take break from Monday to Friday jobs and have an event. So that's more like an art event sort of a thing, rather than, you know, it's, and I, in fact, for all the workshops, I would say it's not like a learning process, it's more like a
right,
fun process, because in 2 3 hours you can't learn, but you can develop that interest. And
right,
when you see a final painting by the end of the session,
right,
so
right,
that
right,
makes you feel good. So there are corporate side of it, and which mostly comes through different mediums like references through Instagram, through LinkedIn, and all of that. And the other is where, from my end, I'm just inviting people to attend the workshop. So that the latter one is more intimate one, where the limit to my sessions is around 10 to 15 people.
oh,
Reason being, so that you can focus on each and
right, right,
everybody.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and just like the personal attention you can give to them. And also the people who are attending can have a chat with themselves and like with each other, and from that close group where they're in a class together, rather than 20, 30, 40 people being
Right,
together. So that's a different set. But I prefer going for those intimate workshops. And
got
there
it.
are, like, I keep switching between mediums like texture mediums, acrylic mediums, and spray painting and all of that. So uh, sometimes I used to take outdoor workshops also, like Garden of Five Senses, Lodi Garden, and Sundar Nursery during winters, of course,
Right,
given the temperature there. So, but yeah, this is the other one where people are, what kind of people come in are, of course, who are interested in art or who want to take a break or try
right.
something new. And these are the kind of people I expect and are there. So
Okay. So it is
yeah,
pretty much aligned with what you want to
yes, yeah,
do and what actually
yeah,
happen at the end.
yeah,
So just coming, I have one little bit controversial question.
yes,
So how I see it, uh, there is another art from graffiti,
yes,
which is very much, if I talk about the medium of it,
yeah,
or if I talk about the space,
yeah,
it is very closely related.
yeah,
Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, because
yeah,
I'm not that much aware about both of these. But in many parts of India, expressing graffiti openly is not at all legal. Like
yeah,
if you do it, if you are caught doing it, then okay, there's a punishment for it.
yeah.
So how do you see it, the expression of art versus the law around it?
See, again, first of all, if you want to do so graffiti on the walls, we have to abide by the laws that is there. Of
Yeah.
course, there will be people who will be doing it, but then they're caught. What's the? I see it like what's the point of it? But now, since the government has also started giving permissions for the walls to be painted on, like as
Right.
compared to before.
Right.
So those walls, particularly, and a lot of walls are there. So those walls, I feel, can be used
Right.
as a tool for promoting what you want to promote or what you want to say to the world.
Right.
So that can be used, yeah, because everything cannot be turned into the wall. Like you cannot just go around public spaces or
Right.
metros and doing that, because again, I feel that's not acceptable from others' point of view also.
What apart from mural, let's say, because sometimes every creative person has this block in their mind. Sometimes it happens. You're doing a lot of artwork, suddenly you have a creative block, you're not able to think.
Yeah.
So what you do at such times when you're not able to think what to paint, what to do on walls, what do you do in journal?
So yeah, so this happened. So I'll tell you, there are two things. One is that you're not doing art at all, and then when you start doing it, you get that immediately. You start getting that creative block. Okay, now I have a paper and a pen and time with me. What do I do? That happens. I feel that happens because you're not doing that for a long time, and you suddenly start doing it. So for that particular thing, you need to just take some time, draw something little, come back to it. That's how you start doing. This is like the one part of it when you're doing it after a long time. The second one which I experienced was that because I was doing things repeatedly, so creative mind was there. Like I could think of what I want to do and all of that. So in that sense, there was no creative block. But when I actually sat down and preparing a piece of canvas, I realized that it's not turning out the way I want to, because I've been busy with so many deadlines that I have to finish this, I have to finish this. So
Right.
that mindset of freedom has gone totally, because I was sticking to the deadlines and being stressed about it. So at that time, I just don't do anything. I just leave the canvas there. It happened actually recently only, so
Okay.
that's why it's so fresh. I left the canvas there and I went to my room. I did something totally different. Like I enjoy quick cooking as well and traveling
Oh,
as well.
that's great.
So like I recently went for a trek also. So these are the things that I do, and then I come back to the art. And then you yourself realize that okay, now you always knew that what you wanted to make, and now you are
Right.
able to make that on the canvas. So taking breaks, in a nutshell, taking breaks is also very important, and not just forcing yourself exhausting,
Right.
because that's why you started this journey, right?
Right.
Yeah, you want to feel happy and want to feel each and every day. So why put yourself through so much pressure? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So talking about all the works that you have done, which one? Obviously, you must have liked all of it. So which one specifically, if you want to mention any project, if you want to mention any work, maybe for a client or maybe just for yourself as well, or maybe for community, if you want to mention few projects that our viewers might be interested to know.
Yeah. I think yes, there are a couple of projects,
Yeah,
and
sure,
every
sure. Go
project
ahead.
is like so different from each other, and learning wise also, and experience wise also. I'll start with the for me, which was the biggest one, and biggest in sense of not scale, just like the vibe of it and everything. This was in January 2021, where I did Cafe Tesu.
Okay.
It's in Essex Farms in Delhi.
Okay.
So there was shutdown. I think third wave, 2022. Oh, sorry, 2022. That was third wave. So nobody was coming. And the cafe was renovating.
Right.
So they came to me and they asked me if I could do this, and it was like there were many walls and the area was also huge. But of course, I really wanted to do this because there was a team of designers, there was these cafe owners, and we came together and our taste just matched with each other. And I felt happy because it's very difficult to be on the same page with everybody.
Right.
And we were in just instantly we were together. So that project I did, I used to go early morning, paint till evening for 9-10 days. I just keep going there, and slowly, each and everything. Did few canvases, did that huge murals there, and it was also very beginning of not my career but the professional side of
Got
it.
it.
And that one project, I feel that it changed my life. Apart from all the efforts I was making after that also, but because it was such a huge scale, it was such a popular cafe, and the artwork that was done was very relatable to a lot of people in terms of the pastel vibe of it, the line work, the delicacy, the delicate part of it. And so that mural I can never forget because I did it alone, and it made me realize that for some other murals I can take help from
So it basically
people. Yeah,
gave you a sense of strength as well.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
in a way, even you explaining it made me tired just to listening to it.
yeah.
So it's obviously a tiresome job to do
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
and to do it all alone is
yeah,
again.
yes.
So I just want to ask, when you are doing it, like, is it like a job that you have to do with concentration, I expect? But do you also sometimes like plug in some music, or maybe
Yeah.
just get into some other
Yeah.
vibe while drawing it or while painting it?
Yeah, so I always listen to music.
Okay,
It's
okay,
always, it's the earphones are always in my ears, so it's all constantly on. And yeah, so yeah, that's it. Like I can't paint actually without music.
okay. So
So
music is like a go-to for painting.
yeah,
That
that
makes
is
sense.
definitely there.
So apart from the first project that you mentioned, which
Yeah,
took
yeah,
a lot of time for you and you did it all alone,
yeah.
apart from this, any other project that you want to maybe give some
Yes,
mention?
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there are like 2, 3 projects. One of them I would mention was for Google Office, which is in Gurgaon.
Okay.
And again, that was a huge wall. So again, I thought that I can do it alone because the artwork that was given to me was quite complex, but I took it as a challenge that
Hmm.
people use projectors. I never use projectors because I feel the entire essence of art is uh, it's just like copy pasting. So I don't use projectors for
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt, but just to
yeah,
be more clear,
yeah.
projector for a mural is just like a trace sheet for any artwork.
Yes, so it is good in terms of getting the accuracy and everything. So you just place a projector in front of the wall, and it just gives you the entire picture of the artwork. You
Right.
can trace it, and then you can paint over it.
Got it.
So for accuracy or for very like text related or typography related murals, it is good.
Got it.
So the Google one that I'm talking about was those kind of murals where the projector would have made sense.
Right.
But again, I did not want to use it because I just feel I'll not enjoy it while I'm making it. So again, I took that as a challenge. And the surface of the wall is very important when you're painting.
Okay.
It needs to be very rough as compared to very slippery. So that in Google Office, the wall was very slippery, and I should have asked them, to make that wall very plain and rough. But
Right.
Since it was already done, I thought, okay, let's do it over it. So that is what it made it challenging, and I couldn't do it alone. So there were a lot of people that artists also that were involved. Like I called up
Got
for a
it.
few artists, and we did it in like period of 9 days, and there were 3 artists every day who were doing it.
Okay.
So that was again a learning process in terms of how the materials should be there, and the scale of the project, and a lot of other things were there. And of course, it was a very amazing project because there were so many people in it.
Right.
So I enjoyed doing that. Yeah.
How did these people reach out to you? Because see,
Okay.
obviously,
Yeah.
like if you're
Yeah.
doing something for Google, it will have much larger audience to see it.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe in terms of people who visit there, or maybe in
Yeah.
terms of what kind of people visit there.
Yeah.
So how do these kind of clients or these kind of
Yeah.
people reach out to you?
So it was mostly, so there are two, 3 mediums. One is Instagram, one is LinkedIn, and one is through references or repeat orders. So this one was through Instagram.
Okay.
They came across my page, like you guys came across
Yeah,
my page.
interestingly, we
Yeah.
also came to know about
Yeah,
you
yeah.
through
So
Instagram.
that was the I would say lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got lucky. So they went through my profile, and then we had a conversation. I sent them my portfolio. This is how the entire thing started, and if they asked me if I could do that artwork because it was quite challenging, then I was like, yes, we can do it.
Right.
So the initial start point was Instagram. Then it was like the entire coming to a
Right.
conclusion thing. So
just like you mentioned, it clicked my mind that
yeah.
Instagram
Yeah.
in general right now in
Yeah.
today's age has become a massive hit for expressing whatever you are
Yeah.
doing, be it
Yes.
art or something else.
Yeah, true.
So, and you also have hefty good followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, do you engage a lot? Do you make a lot of content on Instagram, or how do you pursue for it? Because it's like a separate task.
Yeah.
One, you are doing your artwork.
Yeah.
then you have to maintain an
Yes,
Instagram
yes.
page or handle as
Yeah.
well. Plus, then you have to keep interacting as well, because just
Yes.
posting is not enough.
Exactly.
So, how do you manage running an Instagram page along with
Yeah.
pursuing this thing as well?
So it is true that you have to engage, and again, this is all through research that I've gone through. Nobody knows how it works,
Right.
but these are all assumptions that you have to engage, you have to keep posting, and you have to be regular with
Right.
what you're doing. So for me, I always find it very difficult to be in front of cameras. Like if you even see my post, they're always from behind, like shooting some
Right.
part of it. Uh, and right now also I'm not very consistent. Like you'll find like 2 posts a month from my side, because I feel that this is, I think, my personal thing,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I
sure.
really can't do in like a lot of things when it comes to engaging. But I make sure, because that's where I'm getting my work through. I
Right.
make sure that few of the projects that I'm doing and are like very close to me also, I keep posting them, or once in a while I just add something, or few stories like where I am, where I'm doing the maximum best that is possible from my
Right.
end.
Like your
Yeah.
check-ins, where you're going, these
Yeah,
kind of things.
yeah, and
Right.
just being true to myself,
Right.
and like this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. And if I'm not feeling that I want to engage, I will not engage, because again, I feel for myself
Got
that
it.
it's not right. I cannot just force myself to engage with
Right.
people, but I do engage
Right.
sometimes. Yeah.
So, just pushing one important point here, that at Cheese we also believe the same. So the whole thing how we started was like this only, that why should a product maker or why should an artist should, if they're comfortable enough, they can come in front of
Yeah.
the camera, they can make content, but why should they do this thing
Yes.
just for the sake because people are on Instagram? Obviously, everyone
Yeah.
wants more people to see it, and maybe
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
wants people to see their artwork and all.
Yeah.
But for that one particular reason, an artist who has no idea about how to shoot a reel or maybe how to make
Yeah.
a video should take the toll for it. So that was also our agenda, that
Yeah.
with our work, how can we in some way broadcast the work of others who are not maybe that comfortable, who are not in, basically not in that space of
Yeah.
broadcasting their work out there. They are just
Yeah.
good at making art, which
Yeah.
which is the only thing that they're required to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just wanted to mention
That
that
is,
we are
yeah.
also aligned with the same kind of thought,
Yeah.
and it is good to hear that you
Yeah.
also think the same. So obviously there is no benchmarking in terms of art. There is no benchmarking
Yeah.
in terms of being an
Yeah.
artist. But still, do you have anything in your mind as a target? Okay, once I want to maybe paint this particular wall, maybe make such large mural,
Yeah.
something of that scale,
Yeah.
sort of something that you have in your mind.
Yeah, so there always there's
Yeah.
but like the foremost thing that I want to believe is that what I'm doing right now. So I was working for 5 years in the corporate sector, and then I switched into it. So I just want that what I'm doing right now, should be able to do it forever. So this
Right.
is my ulterior motive, because I enjoy it
Got
so
it.
much, and it's my bread and butter. So
Yeah.
that's where I want to be. That I know that I can do it forever without any risk, or feeling that
Got it.
this thing. So that's my first thing. But coming to your question, is that yes, there is like a big organization, Start India, if you've
Okay.
heard. So they
Yeah.
collaborate with Asian Paints, and they do like huge murals in
Right.
the
Right, right,
Lodi Art
right, right,
District. I
right.
also volunteered in one of those.
I
Yeah.
think one of these campaigns were active recently also,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
heard about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So they do in a lot of South India also. In Lodi Art District, all the walls are through Start India. So I volunteered in one of the walls, but it wasn't like my project. So
Right.
I think that is where I would want to, because due to a lot of reasons, and one is the scale of it, and like so many people will, witness that art happening and be a part of
Right.
it, and you cannot do it alone. There has to be a team to do
Right.
it. One is that, and second, with respects to stamina. So I think in wall art, only people who do it know that how exhausting it can get to even in one day.
I can understand.
So that scale will take multiple days. So how you can face that stamina and build that physical strength, mental strength to do it, that is what I want to experience. So that's another reason why I want to do it. Another is, of course, the learning part of it, and just being associated with Start India and Asian Paint. So that's where I want to do, along with some international murals that are there, of
Obviously.
course, like those 3D murals which are like
Right.
popping out of the wall. So that is what I want to do. Yeah.
So, as it is at everyone's tongue, I just want to address the elephant in the room, the the generative AI which is coming.
Hmm.
Obviously, it might not hamper the art form that
Yeah.
you are pursuing, but in general, just being an artist, what are your views about AI versus art? This kind of debate which is going on right
Yeah.
now.
So I think they are very separate. I mean, art will not hamper AI. AI will not hamper art. Just like digital art has always been there,
Right.
physical art has always been there. Similarly, AI. I don't think that it can. In fact, I feel art can sometimes benefit from AI because, for example, if you're going to a client, they are describing you something, and
Right.
AI is there, like it is making your work very easy.
Right.
Of course, with right prompts, but it is, I think, will help facilitate art more because art is a physical form which is, according to, will always be there. It has been since
Right.
centuries. Things have come, things have gone. Art has always been there.
Right.
So it is. I see it as a facilitating medium too.
Right. Plus, what I have one more point to add here, that more or less people don't make or just buy or see art just for the sake of it. They mostly do it just to enjoy it, just to actually
Yes.
feel
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
if the underlying value of that particular asset is the feeling, then it is very wrong to say that it can be fabricated artificially.
Yeah.
Obviously, the art can be made
Yeah.
artificially, but the
Yeah.
feelings inside it and all the things
Yeah.
which are the underlying value of that particular asset
Exactly.
is something that will be missed, obviously, if it is done by
Yeah.
some generative AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a well thought
Yeah.
and well structured argument that you just gave. Yeah, so as we are talking about the impact of a particular art form, so what do you think about mural art and its impact on the local community? Like, not the people maybe who uh, ask you for the installations in maybe corporate offices, but like for a layman who is just walking around the street,
Yeah.
or the people who might relate to it not on a level that it is displayed in their workspace, but it is displayed like over to everyone. So, what do you think the impact on the local community is?
I think because art is something which is to do with something very visually appealing, it is, irrespective of what colors are used.
Yeah.
Being it present on the walls in the public spaces makes a huge impact. Even if some basic slogan is written or something is written, there are a lot of people who are passing by, sitting there, having a good time, reading the murals. And I'll give you a very basic example, which, for example, you're not allowed to pee here, something
Right,
like that,
right,
right?
right,
And this itself has made like a lot of difference because you are being asked not to do it, and there are people crossing by, and they know that they don't. It's
right,
like a different sort of a message.
right,
But this is also again a mural which is impacting like
right,
a lot of people. Similarly, like if you there are a lot of artists who want to there are certain societal things which are going on in the society, and
right,
you want to bring it out to the audience and people who are just passing by, not in a very direct manner, but something showing some story which has happened or some case which has happened
right.
on the wall. So of course, when you see it multiple times, it just registers in
In
your
your
mind
brain.
also.
That's right.
It definitely creates impact. Maybe you will not do that thing again, with
Right,
respect to those negative emotions which are represented on the wall. So
right,
I think because it is a very strong visual medium, it has a very big impact. And
right,
more murals are there, then people will always search for those messages which are always there on the walls, and
right,
looking for something, what it means.
right.
Yeah.
And thinking on the same side, I think just having a slogan and adding a little bit of beautification to it creates a
Yeah.
lot of impact.
Yeah.
Because people in general, maybe not everyone,
Yeah.
but at least 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10
Yeah.
people choose not to spoil good things.
Yeah.
In general, it's like people's mindset: if something is looking beautiful, let's not just spoil it, let's not just make
Yeah.
it look worse, because
Yeah.
it is part of their habitat. In a way,
Yes.
it is
Yeah.
part of their community.
Yeah.
The art itself has become alive, so you
Yeah.
don't want to hurt it.
Yeah.
So it's a good point that how governments and maybe how the mural art actually initiated or gained much of its popularity due
Yeah.
to these kind of slogans or rebellion movements. So it's very interesting to see this amalgamation of commercial art as well as something that is causing an impact on a larger community.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it correctly that people would not want to spoil those balls also,
Yeah.
given that, it's no, it's very common to, especially if you go to the rural areas, or
Right.
also that these are just walls. So
Right.
that's also another thing, and people spend time with those walls also, trying
Right.
to figure out what's painted.
Right.
Rather than, apart from the slogan ones, like what's painted, they would want to
Right.
know what's there and what's the message. They have their own sense of interpretation to that,
Right.
and that's also helps with like a lot of things which are, your creativity, and the way you look at it, and the way you value it, the way you cherish it, that's
Right.
a thing, right? Somebody, and especially I think during the process also, when you are doing it,
Yeah.
because again it's like 3-4 days thing, lots of people are going, and they know, they'll ask you what's happening, what are you doing, then you'll tell them, this is what I want to express, this is what's going on.
Right.
So that's also again a small impact on, say, 30-40 people maybe who are passing by, will know about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And one more important thing, I think, how just doing a little bit of beautification of a wall makes the whole scene Instagrammable. Like I
Yes.
see a lot of
The
people,
selfie, the
yeah,
selfie wall.
posting pictures in front of beautiful walls in like cities which have a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah, they find a soothing corner where they can uh, capture a particular
Yeah.
movement which can make it look more aesthetic, maybe,
Yeah.
or which can actually translate the vision of the artist who has made it.
Yes. Yes.
So in a way, I think Instagram and other platforms that people actually share these kind of things to a larger audience has also, in a way, added to the importance of
Yes. Right.
mural art and art in general. You know a lot of people who are doing mural art or different
Yeah.
art forms.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from their perspective, as well as you
Yeah.
interact with them a lot, and from your personal experience as well, what do you think are the few major pain
Yeah.
points or struggles of an artist doing such kind of things?
Yeah. So I think since art is again evolving here in India, and it is becoming more and more popular, but still there is some time which uh, till when it is respected as a full-fledged profession, it has to some extent, but uh, still it's seen as, अच्छा art है, ये तो आप कर दो, ये तो आप
Right.
ऐसे कर दो, why do you want to charge for it and all of that.
Ah.
So people are now more and more aware of this thing, but again there have been instances with people around me where uh, there has been like a good discussion between the client and the artist, and the artwork has been done and the payment has not been made. So a lot of people are facing that. So I just want to convey that, or maybe people who are watching this,
Right.
that if you are hiring somebody to do some work, it's like if you go for a job, you're getting paid for it, right? So make sure that you are paying for it and doing the right thing, basically doing the right thing and sticking to your
Yeah.
morals, because again it is somebody's effort, and it's not
Right.
just like effort and time, it's also disturbing them mentally, because they have
Right.
put in so much work, and still it's a thing that where people are not paid for it. So
Yeah.
and from the artist point of view, of course people have started taking advances with respect to, what is the value of the art, and they take
Right. Like
advance
a
for it.
safeguard.
Safeguard, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So either that, again, that should happen, or the payment should be given to all the artists who are doing it, irrespective of
Right.
where they are placed in the
Right.
artistic level, if you've invited them.
So in a nutshell, I think the the major struggle is about that people are not getting what they deserve for the work that they are doing.
Yeah. Some of them, yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a shared struggle for all the artists. So I think
Yeah.
it will be a broadcast for every kind of art,
Yeah.
not just being limited to maybe murals or
No,
canvas
everything,
art.
like
Every
music,
kind of art and
yeah,
artist.
music, painting,
So
everything.
yeah. So Achal, thanks a lot for this beautiful and knowledgeable conversation that we just had. And I hope everyone who is watching this will like this particular video. And if anyone wants to have a mural art installed in their space, or maybe you know someone who is interested into mural art or art in general, you can share this video, as well as you can reach out to Achal for the work. All the reachable links are in the description of this video. Once again, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Arshad, and I think I should thank you guys for taking this initiative and covering all the art and culture of our nation. And Thank you for inviting me for this. It was a great conversation that we
Same
had.
here.